Yeah, welcome to the Brown Boy Wonder Podcast. Reviews and reactions. Let's go. It's the Brown Boy Wonder. Hold it down, representing for the culture. Every episode brings you closer into the mind and the heart of a hustler, where the truth and the groove collide. Stay tuned in, come enjoy the ride. Keep it authentic like that, never hold back. It's the Brown Boy Wonder Podcast. The Brown Boy Wonder Podcast. Subscribe, share, and stay tuned in. The vibe's always on.
Brown Boy Wonder Podcast.
Welcome to the second annual holiday edition of the Brown Boy Wonder Podcast. In the spirit of Christmas, my guest and I are rewatching or watching for the first time 3 Christmas movies this month. And right now we're on our second movie here. But before we get into the movie we're watching, let me introduce my guest here. My first guest, you can see him holding a bunch of candy canes. It is Skyler. Skyler, how are you doing today?
There's a partridge in a pear tree. I'm doing good.
That's good. That's good. And my last guess, for now, it is. You can see him drinking some eggnog and building a snowman. It is Anthony. Anthony, how are you doing today?
Be careful who you use your kindness towards, because they could waste your magic away. I'm doing fine, Abrar. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Well, guys, we are watching, or going to talk about the 2002's The Santa Claus 2. But I do have a question for you guys. Yes. Ooh. Tim Allen.
What do we think the budget was?
Whoa! Before we get into the budget and the box office, we're getting heading over stuff here. But the question I have for you guys is: do you guys feel Santa Claus is outdated? Should we have a new mascot for this holiday season?
Mascot?
Oh.
Is that what you think Santa is?
He's a mascot.
Like Grimace or Mickey Mouse.
He's Father Christmas.
But is he outdated though? What do you guys think?
Outdated? He's very old.
Yeah.
No, he's not outdated. He's Santa Claus. You know, like he just represents joy and giving. That's all you need.
The idea of Santa Claus specifically as like a holiday, I don't know, mascot as you put it, he's fairly timeless, wouldn't you say? I think Coca-Cola did a good job.
Yeah, I would say so. Here's the question: when you ask, is he outdated? Can we replace him? You have to give who would you replace him with? What are you imagining for Christmas if you had to get rid of Santa and all the reindeer and the elves? What are you pitching as the new mascot of Christmas? What represents Christmas?
I know what I'm picturing, and we'll get to it next year.
Oh,
okay. I'm thinking
no.
Coca-Cola, the polar bear. He's white. He's fluffy.
So when Coca-Cola did the polar bear stuff, it's like, all right, move on from Santa. That should have been the new big deal, as a polar bear with some sort of red scarf on, perhaps.
Yes.
If you're comparing who makes a better, more timeless mascot, Santa Claus or a polar bear, yeah, you'll be eating your words in 5 years when polar bears are extinct.
Ooh, yes. Hashtag save the polar bears. Give them
Save
all
the polar
fish.
bears.
Yeah, save them.
Please.
Because they're fun. If you are gonna interact with one, you might die.
Don't interact with one. It will destroy you.
Yeah.
The most dangerous bear. But save them. They're cute.
They're
Very
cute. They're my mascot for this holiday season.
Okay. Yeah, polar bears.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the cast here. Tim Allen is returning as Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus, and Toy Santa. We'll get into that later.
Oh,
We also have Elizabeth Mitchell as Principal Carol Newman. We also have Wendy.
she was on Lost.
She wasn't Lost. What was her character?
I don't know. I don't remember, but she was there.
I remember Lily, the other girl, but I forgot this girl.
I watched all of Lost, and I don't remember a single detail other than it had a polar bear.
Yes. We also have Wendy Crewson as Laura Miller. They're returning, and of course we have returning Judge Renhold. And I did mention this, or as of course Neil Miller. And then last year, I do remember saying him that he looks like Loki. Do you agree with that, Anthony? I said this to Skyler last year.
He looks like Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean, just in terms of like the cheekbones and the jawline, and I mean, he's a little mischievous in this one compared to the first film. He's a lot goofier, he's a lot gayer. So yeah,
I think
I think he's I can understand the Loki comparison. So yeah, it makes sense.
All right. We also have Liliana Money as Lucy Miller. We have our legend, our Hall of Famer, David Krumholtz as Bernard, the head elf. And of course, we have the returning Eric Lloyd as Charlie Calvin. And he is my goat. He is one of my greats. And it's Spencer Brenslin as Curtis, the elf.
Oh, one of your greats?
He's one of the great kid actors I've seen. I know last segment we said who's the best kid actor. I forgot about this kid. I think he's better than Macaulay Culkin.
Okay, well, the question last time was the best kid actor. That wasn't the question at all. So this is a different question. But it's funny because every time I see Spencer Breslin, I think this could have been Skyler. Every time I see him in all these movies like Zoom and the Santa Claus 2, I'm thinking Skyler could have done that. He could have been in this position. We could have been friends with Spencer Breslin while Skyler was off, getting royalty checks from this stuff. So that's all I think of when I see this kid's face. My friend could have done that.
I could have had a very small music career in which I had an album where I had a song featuring Jesse Eisenberg.
What's better than that?
That's all true, by the way. Look that up.
Yes, I did also look that up before this episode. And we have remaining cast members, but we won't talk about them. Except for the reindeer voice cast. We got Bob Bergen as Comet and Kath Sorsey as Chet.
You say we're not going to talk about the rest of the cast. There's quite a few more people that show up in this.
Well, we'll get to them when they show up.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Because they're more like a cameo. Because they're not really in the movie.
Sure.
Well, arguably, but go ahead.
All right, but of course, we're talking about the Santa Claus 2, 2002. What do you guys think the budget was for this one?
$60 million.
Okay, we got 60.
$60 million and 1 penny.
Oh my god. Every time. I'm never going first again. Skyler has to go first next time we do this.
Absolutely. Well, Skyler gets the money. Well, close to it. 65 million for the budget here.
65. That's as many million years as there were dinosaurs.
That's true. That is true. Oh man. Okay, dinosaurs should be the mascot of the holiday season. There.
Okay.
Okay, what about the box office?
Skyler, go ahead.
The box office.
200 million.
Okay, 200 million.
What was the budget? 65. So I'll say 125 million.
Ooh, I think Skyler got the sauce here. It is 172 million.9.
Because I saw it a lot of times. That's how I knew.
I will say I saw this movie in theaters. I was a very young kid when it came out, but my mom and I went and saw it. Funny story about it. We saw it in the Tinseltown in Grapevine, and we went in, and the guy was like, "Oh, it's the theater so and so on whatever direction." And so we go in there, and my mom and I like to get there early so we don't miss anything. We get our concessions and all that, and we're sitting there and we're laughing it up, having a good time. It's Christmas time. We're joking, and we're in there for a while now. It's feeling like it's been a good chunk. And so I go out. She's like, "Oh, are we in the right theater?" I go out and I check the marquee, and it is not the showtime that we're in. And so I'm like, "We're at the wrong theater, Mom." And so we have to make our way to the right theater, and like the trailers are playing, all the good seats are taken. I was like, oh my god, we almost missed the Santa Claus 2. And thankfully we didn't. We got in there,
Okay.
we got to see it, but that was close. We sat in an empty theater alone for God knows how long.
Wonder what you
That's
almost
good.
saw.
I know, right? I couldn't remember. I don't know if it was just like a later showing of the film or something else, but yeah. What could have been?
Well, I'm glad you saw the Santa Claus 2 in theaters. I did not. This is my first time watching it.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Well, last year was his first time watching the first one.
yes.
He had
Oh,
never
okay,
seen
right.
any of these. So.
I've seen the commercials back in the day, like Tim Allen's the Santa Claus, but I didn't really saw it. But yeah, I guess let's get into the thoughts here. I thought the Santa Claus 2 was okay. It's not as great as the first one, but it's okay. I feel like it's missing something. I don't know what it is.
Is our silent
Okay.
reaction to your thoughts scaring you?
I was gonna say, well, Abrar is choosing his words carefully, because it is pretty known that Skyler and I are big fans of the Santa Claus 2.
Oh, okay.
It's the Santa Claus franchise in general.
Well, yes, of course, but we've often referred to the Santa Claus 2 of the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy.
Of course.
Yeah, which it really is. Our characters are split up. It's different storylines. They come together in the end. It's very similar. So yeah, I can see that compared to the first one, this one is a lot more commercial. It's a lot like the first one almost feels like an independent film compared to the second one. This one feels a lot
Honestly.
more colorful and cartoony, and there's like silly sound effects and a lot more kids. The first one felt a lot more earnest.
This one is a flat out kids movie.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
And then spoilers, the next one is as well. Whereas I think I even said this last year when we talked about the first one, how the first one it's kind of a Christmas for all ages type movie. There's jokes for the parents, there's jokes for the kids. It just works on all levels. This one specifically like narrows in on a younger audience. I don't think most parents who were taking their kids to this thought highly of it probably.
No, but it still has tons of humor, but it's way more like I can confirm I was not there, like some people are on the sets of the Santa Claus trilogy, but like it feels like there's a lot more improv, especially from Tim Allen, where there's stuff where it's like that's probably just him versus the script. Like I'm sure a lot of parents laughed at a lot of specific stuff that he said. Like there's a bit later that we'll get to involving like Mother Nature and the joke that she makes. And I remember like my mom laughing at that, and I was like, what the hell? I don't even know what she said.
Yeah.
Whatever. So yeah, there's still that level, but you're right. The first film is a lot more general Christmas movie. This is like Disney's children's The Santa Claus 2.
And it's almost like there's a magical barrier like dividing 90s live action Disney movies and early 2000s live action Disney movies, and this just went through that barrier and changed.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like.
It went through a portal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this will be a little interesting. We'll basically Abrar will be able to tell us what happened, and then we'll get to kind of see. Did you think the scene was funny? Did you think it was good? That'll basically be what this podcast will turn into.
Pretty much.
Did you laugh at this part?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Do you want our takes on how much we love this? Do you need more detail?
I do want to know why the hell do you guys like this movie?
Don't put it that way, you son of a bitch.
It's exactly why we described it. It's a perfect kids movie, and we were kids when it came out. Like we were very little kids, like not like babies, but we were the target audience for something like this. If it had come out like a few years later, like the Santa Claus 3 does, it would not probably play as well as it does. But it's still got a bunch of good Santa stuff, and it's Tim Allen. I would say that there's a lot of Tim Allen stuff that influenced my form of comedy, which people may not like, but there's a certain sarcasm in this, and it birthed me in my opinions.
Yeah, I think as a kid, I liked Tim Allen quite a bit. I liked beyond just his Disney stuff like Buzz Lightyear and this, but like Home Improvement and certain other things he's done. But really, thinking about the vibe of this movie in particular, it's interesting because we just recently kicked off what'll be a long-standing series for your podcast, talking about Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah.
This feels like an extremely high-budgeted decom.
Right, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a lot more like soundstagey and schmaltzy and I mean very teen drama in certain
Mhm.
places
Yeah.
with Charlie. So yeah, I can see what you're
Ah.
saying.
You might be on the nose there, man. I can see
I
that.
always am.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Santa Claus 2. The movie starts off with a plane hovering over the North Pole. The pilot hears tiny hammers.
Tiny
from his
hammers.
headset. Tiny hammers. Because elves are working on the toys for Christmas. Our elf Bernard sees the plane on the radar and decides to go from ElfCon 1 to ElfCon 2. Serious stuff here. But guess who shows up? Guess who is in charge of the situation? It is our Santa Claus, Scott Calvin. He instructs everyone to go from ElfCon 1, so everyone goes quiet until the pilot hears a until a pilot hears a Christmas song from his headset. Scott Calvin located the music and is coming from my boy Spencer Curtis the elf. They got rid of the music and the plane is gone from the radar and everyone goes back to work.
How's he playing this music so loud? He's got like a little, cause he's playing a little dancing thing. It's a little dancing Santa. He's like
Yeah.
he's in the Santa sleigh. First of all, that's his boss. He's got a little doll of his boss, and he's going woo, woo! Like while his boss dances on his himself. And it's like Bluetooth to the speakers all over the place, and everyone has to hear him going woo.
It's just like a cheap novelty Santa toy that you'll see on like Walmart shelves, right?
Yeah.
And and he's just kicking back, listening to Smokey Robinson. Woo! Having a grand old time. It's like everyone has to love Christmas. You have to love Christmas to live and work here.
Yeah, the North Pole, you have to.
And then Santa says, once they shut him up and turn off the toy and the plane flies away, Santa says, Curtis, what do we say we get you some headphones this Christmas? That thing has a headphone jack? You're just going to carry a Santa around? It only plays one song, I'm sure.
That's what I mean. It's so crazy that the whole place can hear this, like the speakers on that little device. That like, yeah, it's like a Santa-sized MP3.
Pretty
You have
nice.
an iPod.
Oh, I don't think that was invented yet.
Okay, but there was Zunes or Walkmans, or we had things.
CD player.
Yes.
All right. Well, we see Charlie and his girlfriend hopping on rooftops.
Uh-oh.
They're
Charlie-
flying on rooftops.
Charlie explains his dad's job description to her, and she's like, okay. Then Charlie zips down and spray paints the walls of the school. He spray painted the words Newman equals, there's like a Christmas tree, and then he spray painted like an error sign.
Yeah,
But-
complicated.
Very
A little bit.
complicated. But Principal Newman caught him in the act.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you don't want to be Charlie here. But we see Scott checking on the elves' work, and we get a great scene where they play football. I will say, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, this is my favorite scene, but I think the next thing we'll see, that's my favorite scene.
The next football scene.
The next football scene, well, that's my favorite.
Uh,
But I would say I would draft all these elves here in my fantasy football league, and they will score me all the points.
Yeah, that's why you lose every year.
Yeah, that's true. Scott finds that Charlie Calvin, not Charlie Sheen, that was a good joke there. Is
There's one he liked.
I like that one. He's on the naughty list. Well, where was Charlie Sheen in 2002? Did he do anything bad?
yeah, I was predicting it.
He just he had substance abuse issues like all the time.
But so did Tim Allen.
Yeah. So who's he to
Yeah.
judge?
Yeah.
So he got that information from Elf Abby. I got it mixed up with. I thought her name was Judy in the first movie.
It
Is
is.
it her name?
This is a
Okay,
different girl.
Oh, is it a
Yeah.
different girl?
Yes.
I guess. Yeah, that's
See,
weird.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Abrar.
Yeah.
When you have your elves played by children,
Yeah.
and then you make a movie 10 years later, they grow up.
Yeah, I
So
forgot that part.
we have to get rid of the kids.
Yeah, I
True,
forgot. I
true.
forgot about the part. The first one came out in 1994. I get it.
A little spoiler for the future. This is the last appearance of David Krumholtz. He can only look like that for so long.
I agree.
Yeah, I think by the time the next one was being made, he had that show, right? He left to make that show.
Probably.
David Krumholtz had a TV show.
He didn't want to shave his beard and put sparkles on his eyes. They got him back eventually, but we're not talking about that today.
Oh, we will never talk about that.
No.
Well, speaking of Bernard, him and Curtis, who is a keeper of the Handbook of Christmas, informs Scott that there's no other clause. Oh, there is another clause. Excuse me, the Miss Clause.
Numbers. His show
yes.
was Numbers.
Oh, Numbers.
That was his show.
I think it was on ABC.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
He played a character called Charlie Numbers.
Oh.
But this is a good bit, right? Did this make this a nice visual comedy and then putting the magnifying glasses above his face?
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
I did like that one.
So this is the Mrs. Claus, because the first one was all about the Santa Claus. It was a legal term. And now we have the Mrs. Claus. So it says he's got to get married.
Yeah, Scott is now pressed to get married before the next Christmas Eve, or the clause will be broken and he will stop being Santa forever. We also notice that Scott is losing weight, aka desantification.
The desantification process has begun.
And that's why I like Spencer, man.
He can say words fast.
Scott,
You like when his beard shrank?
Yeah,
Did it scare
No.
you? Was that like body horror?
a little bit, because you can see his fat, chubby face too. So it's not.
Oh, come on!
It's
That's
not.
Tim Allen.
It's not. I
This-
know, but you don't want to see that.
This is the start of a trend that we'll also get into the next one, is how do we get Tim Allen out of these prosthetics?
He
How do
doesn't
we-
want to be Santa.
How can we not have him be Santa for a while? It's very similar to like how in the Toy Story films, we're like, we don't know what to do with Buzz. How do we make him funny again? We get another Buzz
Mm.
Lightyear, a Spanish Buzz Lightyear. We keep doing that. So it's like, how do we get Tim to be Tim Allen again? So that's what we do. Also, quick side tangent. So in these couple scenes, every scene that takes place in like his little office, we got these like puppets in the background.
Yes.
And in the first film, it was like a little gag. They get brought into this room, and he's like getting undressed, and he pulls his pants down, and the puppets like scream, and he pulls his pants back really fast, and it's like a little funny moment.
It's a funny bit.
Here, they're like constantly cutting to him, and they're constantly making noises, and I gotta say, I don't like these puppets, man. They're not
No.
funny.
They've
Get 'em
got to
outta
say they're
here.
welcome. It cuts back to him like every time someone drops their lightsaber in Attack of the Clones. You got to get a reaction.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's not good.
And not at all. Scott must return to his home to search for a wife and set things right with Charlie. He brings this up when he was visited by the Council of Legendary Figures, consisting of Mother Nature, Father Time, Cupid, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and the Sandman.
Let's
Now
let's run through
yeah.
this cast. Let's run
Yeah,
through these
Skyler,
people.
Skyler, take it away.
We've
Go
got
ahead.
Aisha Tyler. She's funny.
Yeah.
Peter Boyle. We'll circle back to him.
Yeah.
Jay Thomas is the Easter Bunny. Who is that? Do we know? Do we know who Jay Thomas is?
No.
I'm looking.
He looks really creepy as the Easter Bunny here in this movie. He looks.
Don't know who
creepy.
he is, and apparently he died. Rest in peace.
Oh,
Kevin Pollak as Cupid. Very fun. Art LaFleur, who he's also passed away, but very funny.
Yes, yeah.
As the Tooth Fairy. Star Trek's own Michael Dorn as the Sandman. What's he doing here?
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, we established this kind of like grand lore that there's these other magical like holiday figures, and they have a council that they all hold together, which is neat and funny idea. But Peter Boyle, I think I mentioned this when we talked about the Santa Claus last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Peter Boyle is in the Santa Claus. He's Scott Calvin's boss.
Yeah.
Now, Anthony and I have this theory.
Okay.
So, how did Pop Quiz Abrar? How did Tim Allen become Santa Claus?
Became Santa Claus by killing Santa.
There you go.
Exactly.
Oh.
So, did Peter Boyle? Did Scott Calvin's boss? Was he like in his big penthouse apartment, and he heard something knocking on the roof, and he went up there and he said, "What's going on up here?" And then Father Time fell off the roof, and he goes down to check on him, and he puts on his robes, and now he's Father Time.
It was daylight savings time, and it was the clock's back.
Father Time was sneaking in to change the clocks.
And he said, "Who are you?" And he blasted him with a shotgun.
Oh,
And
God.
oh my goodness! And there we have it, our new Father Time.
Peter Boyle. All right. The Tooth Fairy wanted a new name, so Scott gave him the name of the Molinator, but everyone rejected that.
Or Roy.
Roy, yes.
Would you put your tooth under a pillow for Roy? I
For
would.
a
Hell
man
no.
named Roy.
Oh man. But he got a little counsel from them. But to cover for Santa's prolonged absence, Curtis helps Scott create a life-size animatronic Santa clone, much to Bernard's horror. However, at Santa's request, Bernard plays along and tells the other elves that the Santa had a makeover, so they will not have to question about his double synthetic appearance. Would you guys do this? Would you guys clone yourself in this fashion?
Is that what we're calling this? Cloning?
Kinda. I mean, after seeing the results, no. I guess I'd like to see what my hair looked like and everything, because it's an interesting effect that takes place. So I'd want to see what it looks like, but I'd probably want to eliminate him immediately after.
Yeah.
Not to spoil what's gonna happen, but why did the clone, as we're gonna call it for now, why did he come out so like
Plastically?
Naked?
immediately
Oh, naked, yeah.
predestined to become a fascist dictator? like it didn't take that much of a little nudge to push him
It took
to becoming a fascist. That's crazy.
It was
Right, well-
immediate.
He's as we know about regular Santa, Scott Calvin, happiness is up. Everything's good now that he's Santa Claus. So I guess if you just don't have his innate sort of like charm and like love in his heart, you can't replicate a heart. It's plastic. It doesn't work. So that's probably it. He doesn't have all the necessary components to be Santa Claus. He just has the basic programming.
Yeah. Makes
Well,
sense.
if he's like in the dark and I'm trying to sleep, I'll be scared.
Yeah, you don't
Okay.
want a toy Santa poster in your room.
I mean, I have Liam Nielsen in Star Wars Episode 1. I'm fine with him with his glazy eyes, but not him.
Okay, all right. Moving on.
There's a lot to cover there, but we don't have the time.
Well, let's get into it. Because of the impending end of his contract, Scott undergoes a decertification process that gradually turns him into Scott Calvin, of course. He has a limited amount of magic to help him. Scott returns home to his former wife, Laura, and his husband, her husband, Neil,
Mhm.
and their 6-year-old daughter, Lucy, and of course, Charlie. Laura, I will say this. Laura and what's his name, Neil, have not aged a bit. It's been like over 10 years, or less than 10 years. I feel like they're the same people from the first one.
Probably because of their diet.
Speaking of their diet, when they first walk in the room, do you get excited when you see what they're holding?
What
I
are they
do.
holding?
We'll get to it.
Oh, okay. I think I forgot about that part. Okay. Well,
It's right before the date. We'll get to it.
oh, okay. Scott and Charlie face school principal Carol Newman. As Scott complains that there's no holiday cheer around the campus, they all went home to talk about Scott's needs to
It's-
marry. Yeah.
It's so funny that he's all like trying to be like this almost like pseudo punk rock, like I'm an angsty little teenager and I'm
Mhm.
pro Christmas.
It is a very, very goofy concept to be pro Christmas and have it be like this badass thing.
I'm
It's,
rebelling against the system.
it's but this scene of them talking in the principal's office is like it's a good Tim Allen sort of like segment here. I really like it.
Here
He
we
starts
go.
banging his head
Order a
against the
pizza.
filing cabinet. There's so much just little. That's what I mean. It's like I don't know if that's in the script. I have a feeling it must be sort of not all of it, but like a good chunk of it is improv, and that's where I feel like most of the adults are getting their laughs are just little quips and little bits that Tim Allen is doing to make everybody laugh. Because it's making me laugh as a kid and as an adult.
I feel like, and I could be wrong, although I have seen some of it firsthand. I feel like Tim Allen's improv, or at least on a movie like this, it comes from a place of like he thinks of something funny to say, and it is funny, and then he doesn't do anything else. He just does different variations of that joke until they get it right. Like he has
Right.
that like kind of like, oh, this is funny, so this is what I'm gonna say. It's not like a John Lovitz, who I've also seen do improvisation in person, where he'll just like say something different every take.
Mhm.
So I feel like like on the day for this scene, he came up with the idea of like, I'm going to say, let's order a pizza. And then in every take, he just said it a different way, but he said the same thing. That would be my
Yeah.
guess of how it went down.
Well,
I guess so.
someday we'll get that making of documentary of the Santa Claus 2 and we'll get all those answers.
Well, of course, Scott needs to get married in 27 days before he can't be Santa anymore. I also noticed the McDonald's they brought in.
There
Those
we go.
bags, yeah, those bags are. I remember those bags. They're very nostalgic.
This is why,
Absolutely.
this movie is why it's a Christmas tradition. Every year, you need to go to your McDonald's and get a Big Mac, a large fry, and a Diet Coke. And then you need to sit down and watch Santa Claus 2.
Yeah, if possible. You bring out the polar bears earlier and the Coke. I mean, it's just Coke and Christmas. It's just
I get it.
a white Christmas. Yeah, it really helps. I think it's a good feeling. McDonald's is so nostalgic, and it's not like have a nice warm bag of McDonald's when it's cold out. It's just good.
Especially when you smell the fries in the bag.
Oh goodness,
Ah.
absolutely.
I haven't done that in a while. I think last time I had McDonald's, I was like, "There's a bag. Let me smell it." I'm like, "Oh, I smell my childhood."
You're gonna get some McDonald's now after this. You're
No,
gonna-
I already ate some beef. I ate some beef.
No. You can get a fish fillet.
Hey, I'll get that.
All right, there you go.
Double cheese and
Oh my God.
I was a McDonald's employee. I'll tell you this, guys. Make sure if you get your fries, make sure to get it well done. It'll be crispy as heck.
I didn't know you could. I didn't even think to order it that way. It makes sense.
Large fries,
You
well
never
done. We have to wait another 2 minutes or so, but it's worth it.
Okay.
All right, as long as someone's in line behind you.
Can I tell you? On topic for McDonald's, but not on topic for Santa Claus. One time I went in, or I was in the drive-through for like McDonald's breakfast, picking up some breakfast for my family, and my mom asked me to get her hash browns well done, and so I ordered it, and it comes up on the little screen. It says hash browns parentheses well done, so you know that it's a thing that they do, and you don't just feel like an asshole.
Yes.
And then I got to the window to pay, and the lady was like, "You got the hash browns well done? You said put some stank on those hash browns."
Oh God.
I was like, "If you say so."
Oh God.
Well, so
Well,
was your McDonald's like that, Abrar?
no, you have a sassy McDonald's.
I did.
All right.
Oh my
Well,
God.
how does a hash brown be well done? Isn't it already cooked? Well done.
It's the same thing. I didn't. Well, first of all, you worked there. I didn't. But surely it's the same thing as you just put it in the fryer for longer or something. I don't know.
So I'll tell you secrets right now. McDonald's secret.
Ugh.
For fries, it takes about 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Mhm.
For well done, you need to put it in an additional a minute and 20 seconds ish. I don't know if they changed the rules now, but that's well done. So I don't know about hash browns. I never did breakfast.
Well, it's potato. It's all right. Okay, we
Yeah,
need to get back to the Santa Claus.
All
They're
right.
eating McDonald's.
Yeah, they ate McDonald's. Well,
Neil
at the
takes a
North-
big bite.
Oh
he
yeah,
takes
he
a
did.
big ass bite of that Big Mac.
At the North Pole, Toy Santa follows the rulebook too literally and begins to think that everyone in the world is naughty because of their small mistakes. The Toy Santa reminds me of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy because of his being literal, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it kind of get annoying a little bit.
Does the Coco scene happen before or after this?
It's before.
Okay,
believe it's before.
we got to talk about the Coco scene real quick because this is what cements Toy Santa. Because Toy Santa, as you said, is very like literal. He's very alien. It's Tim Allen doing an extreme voice, and he doesn't know how to do anything. So he gets handed a hot cocoa, and he's drinking it real hard, and he can't handle it because he doesn't know that he's not supposed to drink the whole thing.
He doesn't know what to do with it, so Curtis starts miming like gulping back a drink, and so he just starts chugging this piping hot thing, and he doesn't know to stop. So he just drinks it, slams it down, and screams.
I had hot cocoa recently, and it's just boiling water when you get down to it, and like you want to drink it, but it's too hot. So I know the feeling. I understand the sort of the need, and he starts going woo. You're like Santa's getting a little buzz. He says buzz. Get it? So that's good. So yeah, you're right. So Santa's trying to. He needs to check the list, and he's checking it twice. And Bernard can't stop him from doing that because he thinks, I'm Santa Claus.
Yeah. It is good.
Why do you sound so like? I guess.
No, when that scene happened, I'm like, all right, Tim Allen, move on. That's all.
Oh, come on. You just hate fun.
This guy likes Craven.
With a K.
Oh, don't put that on me. Okay, all right. Let's move on here. He also dominates the elves while playing football. Again, I call back. This is my favorite scene. He just literally took over the gridiron here. And I would draft him in my fantasy league.
He kills these kids. You can't draft them all. You can't draft the elves and Toy Santa and regular Santa.
I'll trade some elves and I'll get the Santa.
Right. I mean, is Tinsel football part of the league? Can you even like legally do that?
You'd have to make your own fantasy division for Tinsel football specifically, which means that there needs to be more teams. So the elves are on one team and Santa's a different team. So in theory, you can draft anybody.
That's true. One of those elves went to Ohio State, so they got something good there.
There we go. As a result, Toy Santa takes over the North Pole using giant toy soldiers. He made himself unreveals his plan to the elves to give lumps of coal to not the coal we know, but coal to the world.
That. Why are you referencing that we knew and went to high school with a guy named Cole? Your audience doesn't know that.
No, it's an inside joke. I apologize for all this listening.
You can't do inside jokes.
I know.
Radio.
I know. I had to say it. Bernard exposed Toy Santa as
Now you have to send that Cole a clip of this.
I'll do it.
Like, hey man, I arbitrarily referenced you in an episode talking about the Santa Claus too. I know I haven't talked to you in like 9 years, but
no, I sent him a Facebook message. He did not reply. No, he did reply. I'm sorry. That was his. Okay, let's get
all
here.
right.
His fake account, or someone took his Instagram account and he got hacked there.
Santa?
But yeah.
No, he's talking about Cole.
No, Cole. I'm talking about Cole.
You know what, Cole? Cole's bad. Well, not the Cole.
Oh yeah, Cole. Okay, let's talk about Cole now.
No, we're not talking about Cole.
Okay. Bernard exposed Toy Santa as a fraud, and Toy Santa places him under house arrest. Do kids deserve coal for Christmas?
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Okay. Opposite ends of the spectrum here.
Kids in 2002? No, they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Kids
absolutely. We
today,
did deserve
give them
coal.
coal.
Oh.
You don't even know a kid today. You've never met
I
one.
I know of them. They're on my street. They're
Mm.
playing basketball. They don't get out of the way of your car. Fuck those kids.
Oh, okay.
Do you think they like this movie though?
No, they like Fortnite.
The OG map is back. But back to Scott. Let's talk about Scott's blind date with
Oh
a
my
singer
God.
songwriter wearing the Santa sweater. Does she deserve better?
This might be one of the greatest scenes in all of Christmas history. It really might be. Molly Shannon is great. Everyone knows that. This is not a secret. She's funny. This scene goes places you would never guess. Like the setup, does she deserve better? She put herself out there, okay? And that wasn't an easy thing to do. All right? And if he's not ready to accept that, then maybe they just need to do this. That's fair. Maybe she does deserve better. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Mm.
But the way they play this is so good.
There's a lot to say about this scene. First of all, right before he gets to the restaurant, we see a scene of him coming out ready for his date. He's wearing one of Neil's sweaters.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the ugly sweater joke, right? This is an atrocious sweater.
Mm.
Absolutely. I mean, this is another bit where it's like, as a kid, I don't really get all the jokes that are happening because they're so fast, and not
Right.
that they're like adult, but like when he's like, I got my
One of
sweatshirt,
the best
I got
jokes in the movie.
I got the minivan. See in about 8 minutes. Like, I don't really get what that means as a kid, but it's like, oh, the date's not going to go anywhere. He's going to be back here before you know it. Like, that's the kind of stuff where that keeps the parents laughing, and it keeps me laughing today.
And of course, that's where Neil says, "I think you look hot."
He does say that. Neil is into it.
So we get to the restaurant, and the kid not gonna get it, but if you're an adult sitting there, you're like, "Oh my god, it's Molly Shannon." She walks in
Exactly.
and she's being all bubbly. She takes off her jacket and she's wearing a big old sweater with Santa Claus's face on it. But it's not just Santa Claus's face; it's Tim Allen's Santa Claus's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's Tim Allen is on her sweater, and he's just immediately taken aback by it. And she just starts singing. And she just gets up, she's belting it out, everyone's staring. It's the most uncomfortable, like, just his reaction to it. He's so uncomfortable. Whoa! It's amazing.
Brilliant. It's perfect. It's a perfect scene. And you can just watch that on its own. You don't need to watch anything else. It's a perfect,
No.
it's like a little skit.
It's good.
And then she immediately kind of goes on the defensive, like, "Oh, you didn't like it?" Or she says, "You hated it."
Yeah.
And he has a great line. He says, "I was a little scared of it."
He plays it so straight faced. It's not over the top. It's not like goofy the way he says it.
Like
It's perfect.
he barely responds. He throws one quip, and then she immediately is like, "This is done. You didn't appreciate it. I'm out of here."
It's not easy to be a dating Santa, you know?
It's not easy to be Tim Allen.
Uh-uh.
Oh.
Ho ho ho. Scott and Charlie talks about their girl troubles before bedtime. And in the next morning, Lucy gave treats to Comet the reindeer. I would say Comet scared me.
Yeah, that's fair.
The big eyes is haunting.
It's making dumb noises. This is the most like this is where we go from that scene, which was like you're right, like Molly Shannon. It's funny. It's really played well to like goofy kid shit with blah, 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 blah. No,
we talked about how like this movie kind of got babied down a bit, and the reindeers are what took it the hardest. The reindeers are just for the babies.
Yeah.
Also, Lucy's trying to kill this thing. She's feeding it straight chocolate like nonstop.
It's true. It's true.
I would say Arnold's Jingle All the Way's reindeer will kick ass of Comet.
That's fair.
Sure.
In the sense that it was more violent and not a cartoon and a real reindeer.
Yes.
But also, Comet is magical and can fly. So
Yeah.
Which
But-
stage comet? Fat comet or normal comet?
okay, well, yeah. Who's it fighting? We'll get to it, I guess.
We'll
when
get to it.
Comet gets really fat in this movie.
Humongous. Charlie gets in trouble again with Principal Newman, but Scott tries to help. Charlie's punishment is to clean pretty much the whole school, clean up the lockers, clean up the floors, everything. Scott finds himself falling for Carol Newman. He accompanies her in a house-drawn sleigh to the faculty Christmas
House-drawn.
party, during which she confesses.
Oh my God, we
confesses.
jumped ahead super far. What the
Did I?
hell?
What happened before this?
Well, we get the setup. I don't forget we mentioned earlier, but so Santa has a magic watch. He has a little watch with a meter on it, and it tells him how much magic he has. Because unless he's in the North Pole sucking up magic, I guess he only has a certain amount. And so we get the first usage of this because now Tim Allen's just Tim Allen. He doesn't have any prosthetics on, no fake beard or anything. There's no fat suit.
Oh,
He's just a guy.
I have something. Is he low on magic because he's not being Santa anymore? Because he's just Tim Allen, right? So maybe that's it. It's not that he's gone from the North Pole, so he doesn't have magic. It's that like he's losing his Santa powers in general, so he's running out of magic.
Yeah, it's like a
But
battery.
we only see the meter go down when he uses his magic.
That's
It's not like
So
he looks at it and is like, "Uh-oh." Yeah.
We're not going to try to get into the physics of how the watch works, but but he has a reserve of magic, and once he uses that, he's screwed.
And we get to see him use the magic. We see because he pulled him out. He's talking to Principal Newman, and a little girl comes up, and she's like, "I've been really good this year," and he plays along. And it's just because the little girl was she knew that he was Santa and had to tell basically like how you see Santa at the mall and tell him what he wanted.
Just like the first movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that, where we see that it was played a lot differently in the first film than it was in this. This is a lot sweeter. Except when that happens, we see him look at his watch and the meter goes down, and he goes, "You cost me, Pamela." He's like, "Well, she didn't know."
Pamela, you little bitch.
So yeah, that sets up this magic thing. And it sets up him essentially spending through it super fast in order to get this date going with Principal Newman. Like you said, with the sleigh and the snowing. And there's some good stuff in there. She's talking about her experiences as a young girl and Santa Claus and the things she used to go through. And he's like correcting her and all the things about, it's like, "Oh, we used to put a cot out so you could take a nap." He's like, "Well, I mean, the time he's got to spend if he's, how's he going to take a nap?" Little stuff like that I really liked.
Yeah, especially because actually it's a good date, to be honest with you. You have a sleigh and it's snowing.
Oh, in the wintertime? Absolutely.
Oh. Yeah, so when they were talking, what's her name? Newman, she was pretty much telling him, like, she was forced to stop believing in Santa, pretty much. And pretty much saying that, after fighting with like children, excuse me. She was forced to stop doing so by her parents after fighting with children who told her Santa was not real. So it's like, you know what? She doesn't believe in Santa, not at all. Using a little of his magic, Scott, and pretty much like made this party lit. The Christmas party here.
The party is one of the standout moments of this movie.
Yeah, it has the best jokes for sure. There's just a bunch of boring people standing around with boring music, and at one point, Principal Newman comes over and it's like, "I'm sorry about the party." It's like, "No, it's great. That guy moved." He like points at somebody, like shaking up his seat. It that specific stuff is what makes me crack up so much. There's a point where he's like on stage. He's gonna make it lively. He's gonna bring up the mood. And he says, the words that we've all been waiting for tonight. And he yells, "Fire!" And there's a video of me as a little kid. I guess I would have been like 7 or 8 or something. And like, I'm a little kid, so I'm not very like verbose properly. And so it's just me like speeding through that little bit. And you can't understand a word I'm saying because I'm a child. And I'm like, "Fire!" It's just like the most obnoxious little kid thing you can imagine. But to me, I thought I was just quoting the movie, but you watch the clip and you're like, this is unintelligible. But I was just quoting the Santa Claus too.
There we go. Scott gives presents presents to everyone, or their childhood presents to everyone in the party. I do have a question for you guys. What is y'all's childhood gift or dream gift?
Okay,
goodness.
so are we putting ourselves in the minds of like 7-year-old us in like 2002?
Yeah.
What do you want as a kid?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I did have Toss Across.
Oh, tic-tac-toe with beanbags.
Yeah.
Mm.
Man, childhood gift. I don't want to say something boring like, oh, a PlayStation. Like, yeah, I got it. But
Sure.
like a toy, like
Yeah,
an
a toy.
actual.
I remember I did get like a bicycle for Christmas. So I remember that being like a big deal. I also remember getting like a desk, like my very own
Oh.
desk, so that I could have as like the age of 8 or 9 or somewhere around there. So I remember that being a big deal of like, oh, this is yours to like have in your bedroom. So that sounds kind of boring because it's not a toy, but like I got a bunch of toys. I was getting like Harry Potter toys and Star Wars toys as a kid. So yeah.
Trying to think of like non-brand specific, because like obviously like as a kid, I really wanted like the little big modeled R2D2 toy that like
Right.
it, like beeped and drove around and stuff like that. And yes, I eventually got that. But I also once got a bike on Christmas. I mean, what little kid doesn't want a bike, right? So that's good.
Not me.
And then what? Come on.
That's why I can't ride a bike. Because I never wanted to ride a bike when I was a kid.
All right, that's fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well,
I didn't ride a bike until I was like 9 or something. So I guess that's 9 or 10 or maybe even, I don't know. But so, I get it. We don't all start young. Maybe someday we can learn. We'll give you a bike at the age of 30 and
Please.
you can ride it.
Thank you.
I know I said I wouldn't say video games, but one year I got my very first Game Boy Advance SP for Christmas, and I was like, hell yeah.
Oh.
I also got a Game Boy Advance for Christmas, so I often connect a lot of GBA games like Super Mario Brothers 3 on there with like Christmas and like the kind of cookies and sweets I would eat at that time. Like I kind of connected it in my brain that way. So
I know this probably doesn't translate to everybody, but like my family, my mom or my grandparents, right? They're like, oh, what games do kids like? And they don't know to get you like a Mario game or something, so they get you like licensed IP stuff. So the game I was playing on Christmas morning was on the Game Boy Advance SP, Fairly Odd Parents Break Into Rules.
I had that too.
What a Christmas!
There you go. So yeah, that would be the equivalent of us grown adults in an auditorium at school, except we're all playing Game Boy Advance
getting a Toss Across and Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah.
You guys won't believe me, but what I wanted was Grand Theft Auto Vice City when I was 8.
Oh, I believe that.
Okay.
Kids like
it was that and Hot Wheels.
It's not bad, but kids like video games that are violent and parents won't let them. And Hot Wheels,
like modern like adult video game at the time, and then also the most basic like dollar store toy.
Did you get the Hot Wheels at least?
I got the Hot Wheels. I got the roller coaster, the
loop,
the loop thing. I had
the loop. Yeah,
I had that, and I had the PS2 version of GTA Vice City.
Good Christmas.
You know what I was probably getting a lot of like around this time was like Phantom Menace toys.
Oh.
In 2002, you would have been getting Attack of the Clones stuff.
Yeah, so just like
Jar Jar.
Yeah, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, because just Star Wars stuff lined the shelves back then, right? So
it did.
Star Wars and Harry Potter. That was the early 2000s for sure.
There was one year.
Off track.
probably around. Well, now we're just talking about Christmas. That's fine. There was one year as a kid where like all I asked for was Harry Potter stuff. Like I wanted a wand.
Same here.
An owl. Give me an owl.
Do you want to be Ron or Harry?
You're asking near 30-year-old me, and I don't want to be either of them. So,
okay.
And as a kid, I don't know. I probably just wanted to go to the school.
That's true. get on the stick. The
Get onto
The-
the stick.
That's what Harry says.
oh hey oh. All right. Who? Okay. What's his name?
We
here?
could talk about all the toys that they got. So obviously,
Yes.
JJ, Merry Christmas, JJ. He got toss across. He was very excited.
Mhm.
And then what else was there?
There was
Kinda going through it in real time.
cornhole. I think I saw cornhole there.
And then I was tossed across.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh,
Well, the thing with
Oh, I get-
beanbags, they're playing.
Yeah, that's tossed across. There was Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
there was that.
Easy
just
Bake
tons of
Oven.
board games. Easy Bake Oven. Yeah, just like board games and dolls and stuff like that. That's what everybody was. Tiddlywinks, maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
What was that?
old
What was
people
that game
crap.
where they were like making little gummy spiders and eating them?
That was like an Easy Bake, probably. Because there was like boy Easy Bakes back in the day that were like monster things, like mad scientist stuff.
They're
So-
shooting cars off ramps and.
Right.
Oh! Some people were playing Mousetrap.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I saw that.
Just a bunch of stuff we all had in our family closets that are boring now because we have Vice City.
Yeah.
Um,
The Game Boy was the beginning of the end.
pretty much.
There's that toy where they have like a little. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like a little plastic like arena, and then they like spin two tops and they bounce into each other. It's like
Beyblade.
proto Beyblades, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I was the best at that.
Whoa, the best.
The best. You know,
Oh my God.
Ash Ketchum. He said he's the best. I'm the best at that.
Well, he tried to be the best for a long time and only recently became the best. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Beyblades are still around. We got to get some Beyblades.
Let's get
let's-
it.
Fellas, let's get into Beyblades. Let's have a Beyblade tournament.
You don't want me
Yeah,
to be in a
but
tournament.
time.
You know how we're gonna out somebody who's not here, even though he should be. Daniel, when
Right.
on his 30th birthday, he had a Survivor
yeah.
themed, birthday party, and that's why he and Abrar are talking about Survivor on the show.
Yep.
Let's
yeah.
let's have a Beyblade themed birthday party, a Beyblade tournament. Let's do
Abrar,
it.
a Beyblade.
I'm gonna get the hat, Beyblades. I'm gonna get the shirt, the hoodie, custom
Let
made.
it-
I'll do it.
Oh, you already say it all the time. You say "Let it rip."
Let it rip. Diarrhea. I'll do it.
This podcast is impenetrable to anybody that isn't us.
This is going to be an hour and a half long podcast about the Santa Claus too, where we talk about it for 20 minutes.
Abrar and I have done worse.
Yeah. Yes. But let's get back to the story here. So Newman got her childhood gift was like a pretty much like a doll, pretty much. Calvin, who's met Calvin? Oh, Scott Calvin. Scott Calvin makes a special presentation to Carol, and with his last piece of magic, wins her over, and they kiss under the mistletoe. However, dun 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 dun. When Scott attempts to explain to her that he is Santa Claus, she believes that he is mocking her childhood and throws him out.
Yeah,
Don't do that. Don't do
he did
that.
not. He did not approach the subject very well.
Uh-uh.
I guess how do you, right? How do you explain to someone that you're Santa Claus?
How do you? Maybe you save that little last bit of magic and like conjure her baby doll in front of her or something. Like show
Can you
her,
do that?
prove it. You had magic, dude.
Right.
the
Okay.
animal doll.
No one asked him to spend it all in secret.
That's
He
true.
got really greedy with it. Yeah, he was not doing a good job.
Later, Charlie is upset about Scott dating his principal, and he confesses how hard it is for him that Scott is never around like other fathers, and reveals that the pressure he is under to conceal the secret of his father is Santa Claus.
Come on, man. You have Neil. You used to like Neil. He doesn't give a shit about Neil. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
it's true.
That upsets me.
I would. I like this scene quite a bit just because it's a cool concept to have of like how does the son of Santa feel? Where he says it like
Santa.
the son of Santa. He says it like, my dad has the greatest job in the world and I can't tell anyone about it. It's like, he does. Like, he's the ultimate, like, jolliest giving man. And he can't say anything, you know? So, like, I think that's an interesting conflict to bring up with a teenager. So it's the last thing Charlie can do before they give up on him forever. So, yeah, I liked this. It was an interesting idea.
It's a good plot. Lucy convinces Charlie not to be mad at him. She asked a lot of tough questions. She's like, "Hey, why are you mad at him? Why are you doing this?" Like that. She was asking good questions there, which leads Charlie to convince Carol that Scott is Santa by showing her the magic snow globe he received during Scott's initial transformation.
That's way later, but all right.
Scott should have showed that to Carol.
Oh yeah.
I think he forgot that he had it.
He's an idiot.
Go on. Did I miss a part before this?
Well, you missed that Curtis has to get here, and they have to figure out how to get back to the North Pole.
Here we go. Curtis, as you mentioned, Curtis flies in to tell Scott about the toy Santa's plan. However, Scott has used up his last of his magic, wooing Carol, and cannot return to the North Pole. Comet, let's get into Comet here. Comet is a fat ass.
Yes. How did Curtis get here?
He flew.
Jetpack.
Oh, that's right. He had a jetpack.
Yeah, remember the tinsel, the elves from last time?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm good now. We can continue.
Yes, Comet the fat ass ate all the candy. He has a big stomach. He can't move. With the help of the Tooth Fairy,
Roy. The Molinator.
And the Molinator, Scott and Curtis manage to get back. He flies too low, and only for Toy Santa to find them and time them up. When they were flying, what's his name? Curtis was like getting hit by like the streets.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, that did happen. You kind of skipped over the little montage of them trying to get the tooth out of Tim Allen. They're trying to get
Yes.
his tooth out.
Let's get into that.
Funny. Yeah, Neil goes crazy.
Yes. They what did they use? They used the floss, and then they went upstairs, right?
They tied. Well, first they tied like a string to the doorknob, which is like, I think that's the one people always like joke about or reference in TV. Although why would you do that? But yeah, when that didn't work, Neil very excitedly ties string to his tooth, and then wants to drop a toaster.
Yeah.
Off of like the second story, and then Scott just falls off the stairs and like almost breaks
dies.
his neck.
Yeah.
And then Neil would have had to put on his shirt and become Scott Calvin.
Scott
He
Calvin.
wasn't even Santa at that time.
He had to become Scott Calvin the man, you're right. And then just by happenstance, Lucy happened to lose her tooth, and then that's what is ready to show up. And yeah, again, the whole leg is like, you're not Santa. I know Santa. I'm friends with Santa. You are not Santa. But then he makes him believe.
Dude, he told you last time he saw you he was being desantified.
Yeah, pay attention, Roy.
Have you guys ever like tie the knots of the doorknob and take your tooth out?
No.
Have you guys done that?
No. Did you?
I have one time.
It work?
It worked, but I was bleeding.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I was bleeding a lot.
Out.
Yeah. The thing is, I was scared to take out like the nerve endings too. I was like, ugh.
I don't think you can do that.
You can do it. If you watched the Terrifier,
ask Ray if that'll happen.
Yes, please ask
Okay,
her.
he's a doctor.
I've seen Terrifier 3, and that happened.
They took his nerve endings out.
Where it took his tooth out, and then you can see the nerves. Like, it's disgusting.
Are you okay? Whose tooth did he take out? Some guy.
It's some guy
That
at the
would have
bar.
been an adult though, right? Like not a baby tooth. You couldn't do it with a baby tooth.
Right. It is an adult male tooth.
Mm.
That's true. But I've done it. Everyone, I recommend to do it because The Tooth Fairy is real. For those kids who are listening, do it.
No, kids.
For
Actually,
those kids that are real, do it.
if there's a kid, if there's any child listening to this, first, don't listen to this show. Second, don't watch Terrifier 3.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't listen to what Abrar is telling you. It's awful. Don't do that.
You know,
I texted Ray. She didn't text back. She's in the other room.
oh,
She's taking her tooth out.
oh.
She's checking. Checking it twice.
All right, let's get back in here. Charlie and Carol spring them free by summoning the Tooth Fairy to fly them to the North Pole. Scott goes after Toy Santa, who has already left with the sleigh, riding with Chet, a clumsy, crazy reindeer in training, and they both clash back into the village. With an army of elves, Carol, Bernard, Charlie, and Curtis led them to an epic snowball fight to overthrow the toy soldiers. This is a great scene. It kind of reminded me of Helm's Deep of Two Towers of Lord of the Rings. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, big fight.
Big fight. Toy Santa is defeated and reduced to a 6-inch height.
That's a lot of. You just skipped over a whole.
I
bunch
did.
of
I did.
shit that
I did.
happened.
I did.
Abrar doesn't want to be here anymore. He wants to wrap this up.
Toy Santa and Calvin start to fight.
Calvin.
Sorry, Scott Calvin. They fought up in the rafters or up in the sky. People say it is a great scene. I was like, not a big fan. What are you guys' thoughts?
People say it's a great scene.
First, I want to know who said that.
And it's some comments I saw on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. I mean, this is the scene where Tim Allen spouts a bunch of stuff at Toy Santa. So, I mean, if you like him shouting things, I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's Tim Allen like ad-libbing against another ad-libbing Tim Allen.
I still think the bit where he says, "Stop it, you're scaring me," and he ducks under the thing. It's really funny.
Don't think I'm complaining. That's one of the greatest moments in cinema history.
Yeah, right up there with Helm's Deep. But yeah, so they fight up in the air. It's a big action set piece. There's stuff happening. They disconnect the reins of the reindeer. I like him.
The town will break our fall.
That's what I was gonna say. I like that bit. Yeah, and then you're right. He gets turned into a little tiny Toy Santa as opposed to a big one. Also, Ray says yes. You can pull out the nerve. I got a text back.
Wow.
Be careful out there, children.
That's
Please.
mortifying.
It hurts.
Well, did you specify a little kid tooth?
Yeah, I did. According to her, she said I had one of my front teeth hanging by the nerve when I was younger. So they had to cut
enough.
it.
We don't need to hear that. Cut that. Censor that.
Oh God.
I can't look at Ray the same anymore. She's not allowed over here anymore.
Oh my goodness.
God.
Well, she won't listen to this, so she won't know that.
Hang on.
For those who are listening, if you guys have to vomit right now, this is the time.
They didn't
Moment
get
of
much far. No one did.
Well, yeah, it was a great battle scene here. Of course, Calvin wins. How do you win? He just like
Toy Santa flew out of the front of the sleigh and landed on the stairs, and everyone attacked him.
And the kids beat him up.
Yeah. And then Toy Santa's gone, and Mr. Claus is here. He is back. And of course, he needs to marry someone. Who he got to marry? He can't marry anyone else except Miss Newman. They had a ceremony of marriage. Scott transforms back into Santa, and Carol transforms into Mrs. Claus. And Christmas proceeds as it always has.
I'm going to talk about a bit that confused me as a child. So,
Sure.
Little Not Judy is telling Santa what to say to propose.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I understand now as an adult, it was more so like, you've always believed in Santa and I'm Santa. But he says something along the lines of, like, you've known me your whole life. So as a kid, I was like, there's no way he was Santa when she was a kid. They only became Santa like a decade ago, so that doesn't make any sense.
Why is Charlie still a teenager?
Yeah, I was legit confused by this. I was like, are they implying that he was Santa? No, that's not what's happening.
Maybe Maybe in the sense that like the Santa curse, like he's taken on the hive mind.
Yeah, he's like the Avatar. He can speak to the previous Santas.
That's the next thing. Better do that. The next Santa Claus movie.
Well, Scott and Charlie revealed the truth to Lucy, and of course, Lucy already knew about it, that Scott is Santa Claus, and they gotta promise the secrets of him, and that's the end of Santa Claus 2.
During the credits, we get like this weird little showcase of Newman, who's now Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
And she's all like dumpy and old.
She's chubbed up. They put on some like chubby cheeks on her and everything, and
Because there's that like I don't know. I mean, everyone knows what Santa looks like, and I feel like Mrs. Claus, you can have like artistic liberty and like leeway on what she looks like. But they went with like they wanted to make her look like the sweet old lady, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
That just implies that like this Santa Claus curse. She didn't sign up for that. She didn't know that was going to happen.
No, and they go back on this because she doesn't look like this in the third film, so they immediately gave up on that idea.
A bit of a spoiler for the third one that we'll get to in a year, but they're having a baby in the next one.
Oh,
and so she can't be an old lady having a baby because that's weird.
That makes sense.
That
doesn't make sense.
That doesn't add up.
But if I was her, I want to marry Santa Claus.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
Just let him end.
That means no more Christmas for anyone.
I know, but I don't know, because the thing is, his formation changes too. He's not like how he is. He's become Santa Claus.
He's
chummy man.
She does get a bit catfished. You're right. She fell in love with Tim Allen, the comedian. This is Santa Claus. Yeah, no, Abrar is going full Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. It's time for the Santa to end.
Yeah,
just let it die. Christmas does not belong to you.
I mean, he's partially right to say so because, like, Santa, like she only knew him for like a week,
2 days. Yeah,
like he left the North Pole and he had how many? 27 days. They said.
Yeah, 27.
So yeah, it's been less than a month, and I feel like there's gonna be that moment where, like, now what? I'm in the North Pole. Now what? Like, there's gonna be regrets.
Wait,
there isn't, because there's another movie. Well, at least not from her.
Yeah, I don't know about the third movie, but what if Tim Allen divorces her? Does he not become Santa?
He's not gonna divorce her.
Okay.
He's gonna hold her prisoner.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the Santa Claus 2 2002's. I rated it on Letterboxd a 3, same as the first Santa Claus.
You gave the first one 3?
I gave it a 3.
You bastard.
I'm sorry. I gave it a 3, and I also gave this one a 3 as well. What is your rating for Santa Claus 2?
How does that even make sense? Because you said earlier that this one's not as good.
It is not as good, but it's...
Your ratings don't mean anything.
No, it's hard to put a 2.5. It doesn't deserve a 2.5. It deserves a 3.
Well,
but there's some things...
What did you give Craven the Hunter? I'm looking.
Oh, that's 2.5. I gave that a 2.5. I can tell you that right now. That's a 2.5. I don't want to give it under Craven. This doesn't go along in Craven.
So give the Santa Claus original 3.5.
Okay, I will.
About it.
I will. But I do like the first one.
I'm pretty sure 3.5 is what I gave this one, because even if it is more like aimed towards children, it succeeds in being a good children's movie.
Sure,
we would know
because we were children's.
Or we was children's. It's true.
All right. What about your Anthony? Your rating? What was your rating?
I didn't rate it on. I don't rate movies on Letterboxd that I've seen before. I only rate new movies that come out of the year on Letterboxd, so that information is not privy to you.
Sounds good to me. Well,
you gave it a 4.
Okay.
I did not do that. You're lying. I mean, I would, but like that's not concrete anywhere. That is from my own personal Christmas memories.
hypothetically and theoretically, Anthony would give it a 4.
Okay.
Correct.
That's good to know. Well, for that, the next time you hear us, we'll be talking about our last holiday rewatch. Of course, I know everyone is sad, but if we're going to talk about the last one, and which is Batman. It's right here. Batman Returns. People say it's a Christmas movie. People say it's not a Christmas movie, but I say it's a Christmas movie.
There's snow in it.
There's snow.
There's a big Christmas tree.
Yeah, there we go. So suck it, Die Hard fans.
Whoa. Whoa, you mean fans of Die Hard or Die Hard Batman fans?
Oh no, the fans of Die Hard.
I'm a fan of Die Hard. You like Die Hard. What are you talking about?
I like Die Hard. I don't know what I'm saying. But Skyler, where can they find you?
Oh gosh, we went over this last time, right? I've got a Blue Sky now, but I haven't done anything on it since the last time. It should be Skyler 8-bit on whatever. Just figure it out.
All right, we'll figure it out. And Anthony, how about you?
You can't find me. No, I'm just kidding. Just listen to another episode of this podcast. Listen to that in its entirety without skipping anything, and you'll find out more information.
That's a tall task to ask people to do.
Absolutely. Well, of course, you can follow this podcast. Of course, you're listening on Spotify. I'm also on Apple Podcasts. I'm on iHeartRadio. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram under @BrownBoyWonderPodcast. Guys, give me a like. Give me something. Give me a review. If you hate the show, please. If you hate the show, let me know. Write down in the reviews 1 star. Let me know so I can improve.
No, don't do that. Don't forget. Tell them why you hate it, but give us a 5-star rating. Say this show sucks. I hate everyone on it. 5 stars.
Yes.
I think Coolsville sucks.
Yes. Do what they're saying. Just do that. I'm also on YouTube as well. Of course, I think video is only on Spotify. So if you see me on YouTube, you'll only see a thumbnail. I'll fix that. I don't know how. But we'll get into that. But for that, what did I say last time? Shit. Excuse me. The vibe is always on.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Why not?
You try something different.
Okay, ho, ho, ho.
That's Christmas Story. I already told you I didn't like that one.
Why do you? Okay, first of all, why do you like that movie? Why?
It's just
That's not for this podcast.
All right,
All
yeah.
right, all right. I won't say it. Okay, bye.